Hey, what's up, guys? Jonathan here with Florida Turf Pros. In this video, I want to talk about my experience thus far with a two-man crew versus a three-man crew. We've even experimented this year with a four-man crew. Many of you know I started out solo my first year in business, and I kind of want to just give you a timetable of how I went from solo to a helper to an extremely beneficial second guy, then to picking up some employees this year. I just want to talk about, what worked for us during those times, because a lot of guys get into this business solo, and at some point you realize, you need a helper. And then you just have to navigate all that stuff. And I've navigated some of it thus far. We certainly are not a huge company by any stretch of the imagination, but I have navigated a little bit of that, and I want to just give you some perspective and things that I have observed making my way through that time. If you like the video, consider commenting, leaving me your feedback, and giving it a like or something. But here's how I started out solo. I did about 12 yards a day. There was even some days when I did 15 lawns, and that's really being, you're hammering down, and if you're doing 15 lawns a day solo, you know what I'm talking about. Hats off to you. It's difficult to do that, man, and sustain it. In the beginning, whenever you're all excited, it's easy to do that. But there comes a point whenever you realize we need some help, okay? So I picked up a high school student at the end of my first year in business, and he came on with me, and frankly, I love the kid to death. He was a big help at the time as far as just being somebody there to grab the edger and help out, but our productivity didn't really increase. He just lowered the overall burden, like per yard, I guess is the best way to say that. It's not like he allowed us to do a ton more work. It really just got us through with the day just a little bit quicker, and just kind of reduced the labor load for me. Now, that was the first year. The second year in business, and guys, this is going to be a little longer video than I normally do, but just hang with me. I want to kind of navigate through some of the stuff that I've just kind of been through. Hopefully it'll help you out. The second year in business, I picked up, I would say part-time help or a helper, but it was definitely more than that. My brother ended up coming on board with us my second year in business. And he basically doubled our productivity. So let's say, if I could do 10 yards in a day comfortably, I'm not talking about stretching myself doing 12 and 15. If I could do 10 yards in a day comfortably by myself and 20 lawns in a day with him, and then guys, I got to say that is atypical. It is not normal to bring on a helper like that, or bring on another guy and then basically double your productivity. In general, and what I have observed, you need to multiply by 1.5. If you're doing 10 yards a day by yourself comfortably, you need to multiply by 1.5 with you and a helper. You could be, doing 15 lawns a day. That's more realistic than doubling your productivity. It can be done, but it is not typical, okay? So he came on board, and our productivity it really expanded with the volume of work that we could do. So I spent the entire year last year basically just building out more work, because I was not really expecting to be able to do the volume of work that we did with two people. And again, that is not typical. It's actually atypical to basically double your volume, okay? I'm very, very blessed to have him come on board. Now, here's where I want to start talking about two-man crews versus three-man crews. Just because you and a helper can go out and bang 20 yards in a day, it can be done. It absolutely, we proved that it can be. Yes. Just because you can do that, it doesn't mean you should, and it doesn't mean that it's good long-term, and it doesn't mean that it's sustainable, okay? Let me elaborate on this just a little bit, okay? I am finding that there is more at stake than efficiencies. Two-man crew is the absolute most efficient way to do lawn work, period. We're talking about residential lawn care. I challenge anybody to tell me any differently, but what I have observed is that two men, if you figure it out and You know what you're doing on these lawns. There is no standing around. It is go from the time you go. It is go, go, go. There is zero standing around. There's always something to do that can be done. But what I have found is there is more at stake again than efficiency. We have experimented this year with 3-man crews and even 4-man crews. Just so y'all know where we're at, it's 5 of us. So it's me and then 4 other guys right now. And we've experimented with 3 guys on a truck and even 4 guys on a truck. And I can confidently say at this point, just so y'all know where we are, we're at about 20 lawns a day on average. Some days it's 18, some days it's 15, some days we do 23 lawns a day. But on average, it's about 20 lawns a day. We're going to be running 3-man crews, and I feel completely confident in that. I've seen it, and I want to share with you some of the benefits of a 3-man crew when you're at about 20-something lawns a day. There is a trade-off for efficiency. It's a slight drop in efficiency. We're not talking about productivity. That's a different thing. We're talking about efficiencies, all right? There is a slight drop in efficiency, but the benefits far outweigh asking 2 guys to go out and bang out 20-something lawns in a day. It can be done. They're going to get a whole lot of hours doing it. But I watched it happen. I've seen it happen at the beginning of this year. The guys come in and they're tired. I mean, worn out. That's not sustainable, all right? So, hang with me here, okay? I just saw that. I just felt like there was another option, a better way to do it. Even though 2 is more efficient, I just feel like I needed to reach out now. So that's what I did, man. I asked our guys, and I said, hey, are y'all concerned with max hours? Are you concerned with not being beat down so much? Like, what is it that you're wanting? Give me some feedback on this. Unanimously, they would take a few shorter hours to have an extra guy on the truck to help out with the workload during the day. It was unanimous. Now think about that. We're not talking about somebody who doesn't have a good work ethic, and we're not talking about lazy people. We're not talking about that at all. I assure you, the guys that I got on my trucks, dude, they hammer down. Like, they are not lazy people. But when you unanimously hear that people are okay with reducing the hours to spread out the workload a little bit, that has to get your attention, okay? And we experimented with 3 guys on a truck and even 4 guys on a truck. And 3 guys, here's what I have found, okay? For us, with 3 guys on the truck, number 1, morale is higher. 3 guys on a truck, there's just more laughter in the truck. There's more joking on the truck. With 2 guys on the truck, even though it's more efficient, there comes a point during the day when you're just trying to get through the work. You know what I'm talking about, man? Like, kind of gets quiet and you're just tired and you're just trying to grind through the day. And if that happens at the beginning of the season, dude, you're in trouble, because nobody wants to sustain that, man. Nobody wants to just grind through each day, Like, they just don't want to do it. You have to put yourself in the position. Like, if you were to wake up in the morning, pull up your app that you use for scheduling, yard book, or whatever you're using, and you say, okay, well, we got 20-something lawns on the schedule. It's just me and another guy. Well, let's check the weather. The weather says it's going to be 94 degrees today. Oh, heat index says it's 104. Oh, 100% humidity. Fantastic. This is going to be a real crappy day. You cannot sustain that. You cannot ask your employees to beat themselves to death just because it can be done more efficiently that way with 2 guys. The trade-off, I'm convinced, is better morale with 3 guys. And again, guys, the morale is better in the truck because the guys just aren't getting beat down on the lawns. They're getting finished a little quicker during the day. They're off during the hottest part of the day, and the responsibilities are shared on each yard. And just what I have observed so far this year is that if you are in the 20-yard-ish range, or again, residential lawn care, we're between a quarter acre to 3/4 of an acre. That's kind of the area that we're in. though 2 is the most efficient way to run a lawn crew, I think 3 is a better route to go. I truly feel that way. If you're banging out about 20 lawns a day, I truly feel like 3 is a sustainable way to do business, and it does not beat your guys down. Again, you know, just because we can get the work done more efficiently with 2 guys, it doesn't mean that that's the best way to do it. There's a lot of other things to take into consideration, and moving forward for us this year, 3-man is the way to go. So again, guys, if you're starting out solo and you're bringing that first helper on board, the thing I want to remind you of is you need to expect, you need to have an increase in productivity bringing somebody on, okay? But you really shouldn't expect to double your productivity. You really need to be looking about 1.5 from whatever you're doing. That's realistic, okay? But be careful about pushing that helper too far and becoming too reliant upon them, because if y'all start getting to the point where you're at 20-something lawns a day and they quit, they get sick a day, and you're screwed. Like, you just cannot make up that workload with one other person, which is why I am, again, an advocate for bringing on a third person onto the crew. If you start pushing 15, 16, 17 lawns, I feel like you should have a third person on the truck, okay? Not a lot of people want to hear that. We as business owners, we don't want to hear that sometimes, obviously, because we know that the more efficient way to do it is with 2 people. But guys, nobody's going to work hard in your business like you are. And even the good ones, even the best, and I think I've got 4 of the most productive. I think I got 4 of the best guys, period. It's not sustainable to expect them to beat themselves down day after day after day. It's just not. You have to solicit some feedback from them. Figure out, put yourself in their shoes. And whenever people unanimously say that they're okay with reducing the work hours a little bit to have more help on the truck, then guess what, guys? We as business owners have to figure that out. And after seeing it now firsthand, I'm convinced if you're pushing 20 lawns a day, you should look really, really hard at getting that third guy on the truck for increased morale, decreased workload, and then also to provide yourself some backup and some insurance if one guy gets sick, so you can still get it done with 2. That's my thoughts, guys. That's what I've experienced so far. So if you're kind of navigating that right now, I hope that was helpful for you. If you got any questions, leave me a comment, let me know. But this year for us it's really a growth year, and I'm kind of just figuring out some of this crew stuff, I guess you will, as I go. But what I have seen thus far is you need guys on the truck. Whenever you start creeping up into those higher number days of 20-something lawns, you need extra guys on the truck, period. Good luck. God bless.